first sentence we're going to work with. There are some high, thin clouds, but we can still see the moon and a few stars. So in order to do that, we have to identify all the parts of speech. So that's the first level. There is a pronoun. Are is a verb, and it's a special kind of verb. It's called linking, because it's going to link the subject to another part of the sentence. It's going to have a subject complement. Some is an adjective. The reason why we know it's an adjective, in order for something to be an adjective, it has to be modifying a noun or a pronoun. And in this case, some is modifying clouds. High is also an adjective, modifying clouds. And thin is an adjective, modifying clouds. That means that because all these words are modifying clouds, clouds has to be a noun. Okay? The next word we have is but. It is a conjunction. A special kind of conjunction called coordinating. The reason why it's coordinating is because it is joining two words, groups of words, or clauses, phrases or clauses, and that's what it can do, and that's exactly what it's doing here. And we is a pronoun. Can is a verb. This verb is actually a helping verb. The reason why it's helping is because it is helping see, which is the main verb, and it's also action. And then still comes in between the two verbs. That means it has to be an adverb, because that's what adverbs do. They modify verbs. It's one of their functions. The is an article. Articles are special kind of adjectives, and they're also little noun alerts. So what they're telling me is that a noun is coming, and there it is, right there, moon. And is another conjunction, and it's a coordinating conjunction. These and but, and or, for, so, no, nor, yet are all fanboys. I don't know if you've heard of that before, but that's what they are. That's what coordinating conjunctions are, fanboys. A is another article, which is a special kind of adjective. Another little noun alert telling us a noun will be coming next. And there it is, stars. And few is an adjective that is also modifying stars. Stars is a noun. So now we have identified all the parts of speech. That is helpful for this next level, for parts of sentence. At the sentence level, we have to identify our subject-predicate sets. Subjects can only be nouns or pronouns, and predicates can only be verbs. So predicates are the easiest ones to find. So let's identify our predicates right away. Are is a verb, so it has to be the predicate. And then over here, can and see are verbs, so that is also our predicate. And we have to kind of show that still is not part of the predicate. It's an adverb, so it cannot be a predicate. Now we have to identify the subject of these predicates. Over here we have there. There is the subject of this predicate. Notice that it's a pronoun. That is either only a noun or a pronoun can be a subject. So there is our subject. And then over here, we have the pronoun that comes right before the predicate. That's the subject over here. So that means we have two subject-predicate sets, but we're not done at the sentence level yet. Now we have to identify, if this is a linking verb, the only thing that we can look for is a subject complement. The subject complement will either be a noun or a pronoun or an adjective. In this case, we have a couple to choose from. We have some, high, thin, but all of those adjectives are modifying clouds. So clouds is our subject complement. And this is a complement with an E, which means that it is completing the meaning of the subject. So there are two special kinds of subject complements. One's a predicate nominative, one's a predicate adjective. If it's a noun, it's going to be a predicate nominative. With an action verb, we have to look for a direct object. Not always will there be a direct object, but it'll answer the question. We can see what, and the answer is moon, stars. So what we have here is a compound direct object. So they are connected with this and. That's the job of the coordinating conjunction. Notice, too, that we don't have a comma before this and. We do have a comma before this but, and this is the one that I wanted to pay attention to for the independent clauses. That's a very important comma, and I'll explain that in just a second. The next level we have is phrases, and in this sentence right here, we don't have any prepositions, we don't have any verbals, we don't have any appositives, so we actually have no phrases. Then the fourth level is clauses. This is where we figure out how many clauses we have in the sentence. And we determine how many clauses we have by the number of subject-predicate sets. So we just found out that we have two subject-predicate sets, this one over here and this one over here. So we have at least two clauses. And the way we figure out if they're independent or not is, can they stand alone? So there are some high, thin clouds. Can that stand alone? Yes. So we know we have one independent clause here. Then we look at this other part. And because it's a coordinating conjunction, but does not get included with this part of the clause. The subordinating conjunctions will. When we get to that, I'll show you that as well. But right now, we're just looking at this one, and just think of it as like a link in a train. It's just holding these two things together. So we don't include that. We can still see the moon and a few stars. Does that stand alone? Yes. So the idea is that we have to identify our clauses. If we have two independent clauses, we need some kind of punctuation. Now in this sentence, we have a comma and a but. That is exactly what you should have to connect these two. You could change that, and we could remove the but and connect it with a semicolon, if that's the only information that we wanted to display. That there are some high thin clouds, we can still see the moon and a few stars. That is acceptable. What is not acceptable is if we just have the but. What we have here is called a run-on without a comma. So those are your two choices. You can also just put a period here and start the we with a capital letter. But other than that, if you have a coordinating conjunction between two independent clauses, you must use a comma. So we have two independent clauses. The type of sentence we have here is called a compound, and the purpose of this sentence is just to declare something. So it's called a compound declarative sentence. Okay, I'm Mrs. Hawkins, and I hope you enjoyed your lesson. A coordinating conjunction between two independent clauses, you must use a comma. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed. Now let me do that again so you can cut that.